Hello and welcome to a custom map cast. This time we have VonIvan versus Talisman on South Alberserwad. This is VonIvan and I's map from one of the old seasonal map cup tournaments. We have VonIvan in the west end of South Alberserwad running tank hunters, urban defense, and guard motor. And urban defense could actually be a lot of value on here. He has the 10% increased dispatch time on guards and shocks with the 10% faster build time on penals, the 3% increased accuracy on penals, and the 5% faster cooldown between shots on the combat engineers. In the east end, his opponent, Talisman, on OKW, running Firestorm, Lovdwava, and Scavenge, with the 10% faster cooldown on the dispatch time for the Yagtire, the 5% increased top movement speed for the Kubel, and 4% increased acceleration also for the Kubel, and 2% faster between shots and reload for the Volksgrenadiers. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this map, it has a little bit of a peculiar or non-standard resource system in that both fuels are on one side and both munitions are on the other. We have a cutoff in the south for both fuels and a cutoff in the north for both fuels. If you take both of these cutoffs, you cut off the entire map for your opponent. VPs straight down the middle, and a little bit of an asymmetrical loadout as the map is split right down the middle vertically. But it does have a little bit of an asymmetrical layout in the middle area, the main engagement area of South Alberserwad, just a small little town, mechanic shop, the church, some houses, and your farms and things like that. Just some horse gliders that landed and were destroyed throughout this engagement. Playing a little bit off of the same area, as this area isn't really a real place, but based off of the Operation Infatuate type area as well, and just the military inundation that came with flooding all of the agricultural areas that were in that surrounding areas. I don't think I said areas enough. But either way, we have a little bit of a change up from the traditional opening from VonIvan. He's going to the support weapon, going double cons into a Maxim. And we have the cons in the middle, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and get his munitions. Combat Engineer is going to catch out some Volksgrenadiers, going to lose that engagement quite handily, especially with that first burst of damage. And the conscript's going to grab up the cutoff and the fuel and then move their way down into the south VP area, where they're going to get met up by Stern Pioneers. In the middle, we have Volksgrenadiers finishing up that sandbag wall and hanging up behind their own sandbags that were here on the map before the conscript showed up, just outside of the church, firing back. Combat Engineers do retreat on and away. 4 Volks is the choice for Talisman so far. Seeing if these conscripts are buying time for the Maxim to make it to the church, but no, he's setting it up on the cutoff. He doesn't want to lose the fuel. Stern Pioneer is finding these cons nice and close. He might as well just retreat. There's no real way for him to deal with this. And it's interesting to note that he's going into Maxims. This is kind of reminiscent of a Barton strategy, but instead of 4 Maxims, it's only 2. So a little bit more utility being offered from the cons. And with his loadouts from the Tank Hunter, he could always panic go into the PTRS and get the RPG-40 Assault Nade burst. But I'm really curious to see if he goes to the Urban Defense. He's been really trying to get this to work as of late, and I want to see if it does. And Stern Pioneers gets suppressed up there, but it got out of the arc, but he retreats him anyways. And that's going to be the south end one for VonIvan. We do have our first truck out, which is going to be a battle group almost assuredly for Talisman. Conscripts and Volksgrenadiers still sitting here taking pot shots at each other on the middle VP. However, this is favoring Talisman as he has all 3 VPs under his control, and just sitting here is getting the drain already applied quite heavily on Von as he's already lost 54 minutes in. And Maxim hops into this house here. It is sight blocked, so it's not going to be able to deal with these Volks. It's going to set up and then pick up and just run out of this house. There's no way he can stay here for very long. He does come out the front end, and there he goes. That's the retreat. So trying to be cheeky and set up on his opponent's cutoff for the fuel, but not succeeding in doing so. And that incendiary will let him know that that first truck is out. And it is indeed battle group, so not a big surprise there. And feeling the pressure immediately, conscripts oorahing out of base to get onto this munition point up in the north. Double munitions income now for Talisman. He's contesting this cutoff in the south. The Maxim trying to deter that a little bit, but getting sight blocked by this hedge. He needs to set it up over here to be able to see it. Does get the soft decap, so he loses that fuel income and that territory point. And a third Maxim now for VonIvan, so definitely a change in strategies. Now, with this much of team weapon loadout, this might spur Talisman to go into the ISG that we see him use to counter Barton. Conscripts handedly losing this fight with no cover. 251 now being queued up for Talisman, headed to the front lines. As soon as that incendiary wears off, he gets right back behind those sandbags, just trying to buy as much time as he can for this Maxim to get set up here, but it's not going to be able to get that suppression or the cap onto that, as the green cover here will take decades for that suppression to actually be applied. However, he does get his cutoff back under control while trying to harass his opponents and failing and do so. RKS3 toasting up those Stern Pioneers and not getting the connection that he really wants, but the Stern Pioneer's not interested and just walk by. Hey, how you doing? And Talisman, finally, they're just turn around to fire into that. They will retreat down this ditch. But the Maxim's going to be able to set up on the cutoff and take away the fuel. However, 251 will be coming out momentarily to go ahead and take that right back under his control, so not too worried about that, to be honest. Maxim moving up into the north, trying to get onto this cutoff for the munitions, but VonIvan having a really hard time getting any sort of presence on the map. It's just being, once again, outmaneuvered a little bit, but maybe this Volk squad has overstayed its welcome, retreating down this canal and taking a ton of damage that Maxim, however, has to pick up and reset up to fire at it, so should be able to sprint on and away. And the 251 will show its face. Maxim retreats straight away, not wanting to hang out for that at all. So not bleeding any manpower, getting that little bit of harassment that he wanted to get in. Maxim opting to set up on this territory point. Another incendiary denying the barbed wire fence. Volks look like they're going to lose that engagement, and they do. And conscripts will finally be able to get the munitions back under their control a little bit. Maxim firing at the 251. It got that cutoff under their control and then immediately drove up north. And we did have the guard rifle locked in, or guard mortar, excuse me, for VonIvan. So Ziska now being produced. That's what his answer is going to be for the 251, not going into guards. And I agree with this choice, as the guards will never be able to actually close and finish off the kill on this 251. So these conscripts have to get out of here. That reload buying him some time. Is it enough, though? And it looks like it's going to be. Now, did he get the snares upgraded? He has not. So no opportunity to maybe oorah in and get that snare. Did he lose a con squad? He did. He did lose a con squad. So first squad dropped for VonIvan. 251 going down through the middle now. MG34 the play for Talisman. Zisgun fires at the Volk squad, trying to take out those sandbags, and will do so. So now that suppression will come in onto those Volks, no problem. 251, however, parked down onto the south cutoff, and the Volks Grenadiers hanging out behind this green cover again, taking forever to actually get any suppression, let alone the pin, and it's looking really bad for VonIvan again. He's getting to that tier 3, but he doesn't have any real way of dealing with a 251. I'm starting to think that maybe he needs to start saving up for the guards a little bit. He has the 120 millimeter ready to go. Guards will be here momentarily, and there they are, an instantaneous call-in. DP upgrading on them as they come in on the off-map. Not too little too late yet. The Maxim somehow not inside that capping circle. Yeah, just it's not enough. So Ivan there letting down the Tavarish of VonIvan. But honestly, his VP count does really tell the story of this match so far. But he got his fuel back under control, and this gun is set up here to try and defend it. Where are those guards headed? Up north. I think this is a bit of a mistake. Those guards need to be supporting that Zisgun 100%. They will find two Volks. So guards out. So if Talisman had any questions about what he was facing now, he knows for sure that it is the guard motor. ROKS 3 combat engineers get up on the flank, and the Volks Grenadiers will retreat on and away. Another MG34 the choice for Talisman, so going his own set of suppression, a lot of suppression, so he's going to be able to secure an area with the 251 and then drive away and let the MG34 hold that area a little bit more stagnantly, and he'll do that in the south, and then he most likely will do it in the north, and the 251 will just drive around and try and slowly corral VonIvan back into his base sector. Incendiary chalked over the sight blocker here. Maxim laying in it. Zisgun wants to set up. He's probably going to go for the barrage here. Maxim going to die. And that cheeky incendiary picks up a kill on the Maxim. And now the cutoff being contested again. Secondary Maxim in the south, now being pushed on by the Stern Pioneers after that drop on the first one. And here comes the barrage from the Zis. Point blank, drops 2 models at 251, holding down the middle area. And where are those guards at? Guards all the way over on the munitions point, but they should be here. And he lost his other con squad, picking up the Maxim in front of these Stern Pioneers. And that's a dead Maxim as well. And that's GG. That's GG. He's lost far too much against the caliber player of Talisman.
Enemy forces capturing supply sector. Combat engineers are standing by.
More combat engineers. Tier 3. This T-70 has got so much work out of it that he's going to build. I mean, at this point, I almost feel like he shouldn't even want the guards because he just treated them like cons and just capped up in the north and retreated them. If those guards would have been down here, he would have been able to throw a nade back over. He would have been able to defend this a little bit more. And that's what his focus was. I think there was just a misplacement of his army a bit from VonIvan. Not having the combined arms in one area. Because he's on the defensive, but he's trying to play aggressively still, and it's just biting him in the ass over and over again. This Tier 3 will be ready to go, and then he'll get the T-70 out, but Tier 4 is already being built by his opponent. He's so far behind. And he gets the cutoff for the north as well, so this munitions point and territory point are taken away. Fuel not connected either, and Firestorm now the choice for Talisman. Talisman looking to go the Flampanzer, the little flame potato that could, and just end the game. So that could be a little bit of a throw. If he builds it and loses it immediately, that'll buy enough time for VonIvan to come back into the game and potentially get a T-34-85 out. But it's gonna really hurt. He is entirely master cut off. Now he has 2 territory points to his name, but it's just, he's lost 3 squads. Maxim's firing away. Stolen Maxim in the south from Talisman, chewing up the Maxim from VonIvan, and has to retreat. Barrage coming from the Zisgun onto the MG34 and finds a good connection, but not doing as much damage as he'd like. The Maxim trying to get the suppression onto the Volksgrenadiers and not really succeeding. The 251 setting up to potentially pull all the way up into this. And is that an incendiary? It is, right onto the Maxim. Maxim still firing away despite being pinned. And now the Zisgun's going to have to walk away, and the 251 should move up for this. Where's that T-70 at? T-70, has it shown? It has shown, so maybe that's why he's playing a little bit safe. Driving right up close and personal with that. Yeah, he has to retreat. He can't even go for the Foss there. As the AoE from the shell, even if it misses, it's going to hit that sandbag wall and deal a ton of damage to that Volk squad, so he does get out of there. And Raketin was built for all of that. And it's going to be double fuel income now for Talisman. Just opting to push right on it. So the T-70, yeah, it might get a few squads to retreat, but this is just a showcase of the fact that he's missing 2 of those conscript squads. Even though the T-70 is buying him a little bit of time, he can't cap anything. He can't fight. Everything that he needs to fight with is guards. And he can't even do that. It's too hard. T-70 now getting baited by this 251. He wants to fight into it. And the Volk squad threatening the snare at all times. So yeah, you might fire a few shots into this 251, sure. But if he keeps doing that, that Raketin will find that shot later on. And double fuel now. And just like I said, VonIvan's in his base. And there's the Flampanzer, the flame potato that can. Is going to come out and put the hurt upon VonIvan. Not looking good. Combat engineers with no upgrades and gauging the STG Volks inside this shelled out church. One Zisgun barrage would probably drop it, to be fair. Maxim and hazard removal combat engineers now firing into it. T-70 comes on over to try and help deal with it. And VonIvan not even going for his fuel, going for the munitions instead up in the north. grabbing the VP and grabbing 2 sets of munitions, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to buy him really anything. I mean, he is 3/4 of a CP away from marked target. He drives right into a Raketen, and the T-70's dead. To the 251. He might get the speed bonus that he needs. If the 251 pens all the way, does he get the speed bonus for the road? He does, and he gets out of there. Oh, a little bit of luck, a little bit of breathing room for the T-70. And the STG Volks hop out of the house and get the Maxim and the combat engineers to head out. But here's a flame potato that could. And I have no idea how he kills this. Runs over the small shed corner there, and then the graves, the mausoleums, and just sets up. And how does he kill this? Yeah, it's pretty squishy and it's pretty weak. And a 120 is the choice. Oh, no. Oh. The T-70 can kill the Flammenpanzer if it's entirely unsupported. And Talisman all of a sudden loses all of his feeling in both of his hands. I don't know if that's going to actually happen. Cutoff being contested again, not even going for the munitions and the territory points, just deciding to go straight for the jugular. Gets the combat engineers to hang out on that, and there's a Flammenpanzer that he can't deal with. And the combat engineer's just getting annihilated. He has to stand on this. He's going to lose that squad. Yep, there it goes. 120 fires down and gets the soft decap, so no income again for VonIvan. And the North combat engineers engaging the STG Volks. T-70 gets snared, and the Raketen probably can't capitalize on this. 251 moves up for it. The Raketen is coming. It's cloaked. This gun set up for where the Flammenpanzer will come from. Finds the shot, and Stern Pioneers on the flank of the Maxim, and everything is falling apart for VonIvan. He's just getting overwhelmed. There's a sneaky Raketen shot and abandoned on the T-70. The Maxim goes down. The Zis gun will go down to the Stern Pioneers and the Flammenpanzer, and he just pushed off the map again. Just outmaneuvered by his opponent. I definitely think this stems from the fact that the guards went north for no reason and didn't defend this cutoff. And then he lost 2 con squads, one on retreat up here to the Volk squad after the 251 didn't get it, and then another one trying to recrew the Maxim that died to the incendiary. Flammenpanzer is buttoned, taking a little bit of damage, but 120 pretending. It's gotten one whole model. I don't know. And that's GG. He calls it in. Again, VonIvan getting hammered by the GCS champion. And it looks like that rust from 1v1 starting to show, maybe a little bit too much so, from the fact that 2v2 has been his main game mode that he's been playing as of late. But either way, GG. He had a really hard time. Maybe he'll bounce back in the next game for those of you on the replay or on YouTube. Hope you enjoyed the cast.